With us for this half hour, it's time to take a look at that exclusive CBS 19 winter weather forecast. Of course, most forecasts that are going to be done this winter are going to use something called La Nina, because La Nina is the cooling of the Pacific Ocean waters off of South America. And you can see just how cool the waters are this year. We are in something called a La Nina advisory, and when that happens, typically the jet stream is pushed up to the north, cooler air flows over the northern part of the United States. The Great Lakes are wet and cool, so a lot of snowfall there. And here in East Texas, if La Nina is the forecast that you're going to pay attention to, dry and warm conditions would be something that you would expect. But here in the CBS 19 Weather Center, we use something called the long-range cycling weather pattern theory. Let's talk more about that. What is the LRC? Well, the LRC is a weather pattern that sets up every October to the early parts of December, and then that pattern begins to cycle. And this year's pattern is setting up right now. But a couple of signature storms have already shown up, and so we expect, after seeing some of these signature patterns, that we could see stretches of warm, dry weather, but short bursts of frigid air. I mean, we're talking about some very frigid air across parts of East Texas. And we have to find and identify these signature storms. So we look back to October 18th. We had this big upper low move through the middle part of the country. We had a little bit of rain, but we had some sharply cooler air come in behind that. When this part of the pattern repeats, expect some colder air to return, and we expect that colder air to come back in mid-December and right before Valentine's Day, and it could be much more impactful than it was in October, meaning we could have heavier rain, severe weather, snow, maybe a lot colder air. And another storm system that did bring us heavy rain was October 25th, 2025. We had these strong jet stream winds lifting the air. We had heavy rain with that storm. We know that storm will return, and when it comes back, it will bring us some significant rain, perhaps thunderstorms right around or right before Christmas. Flash flooding was a concern last time. It may be again right around Christmas with some gusty winds. If we can draw enough cold air into the system, then we could be talking about the potential for some wintry weather. And upper level winds are another part of the story. And you'll remember November 9th, it got very cold here. In fact, we had our first freeze of the season as the jet stream dipped all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Well, guess what? That feature will return. So we expect a cold blast to return, and it could come back somewhere in early to mid-January with gusty winds, falling temperatures, and maybe a rain or a rain-snow mix. Are you ready? All right, here is the CBS 19 winter weather forecast. We expect overall to have above average temperatures and below average precipitation, but it's going to turn very cold at times. Of course, the pattern is still evolving, so make sure you stay tuned for updates, and you can get those updates any time of the day on CBS19.TV or streaming on CBS 19 Plus.